For all these 43 years, I have been coming here ever since I was in Karachi during the war period, all over Saurashtra, including Kutch. We have come in connection with the two events mentioned by Swami Mumukshananda. 150th birthday of Sri Ramakrishna and the first centenary of the Ramakrishna order. Yesterday we had two good meetings in Ahmedabad. Our governor had organized one lecture in Gandhinagar for the administrative staff of the government, and later on the public meeting in the town. And today in Rajkot, this great subject of Sri Ramakrishna comes up. It is a great experience to study Sri Ramakrishna, to study Vivekananda, and to spread this great message in India and the rest of the world. When I was a little boy of 14 and a half years age, I happened to read a little edition of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I cannot describe today in words the tremendous impact that reading made on my life. What is exactly religion? What is the way to express our religious impulse in human life? All these ideas came to me through that reading, followed by the study of the vast Vivekananda literature. Beautiful English, beautiful ideas, and tremendous love for man you get in that literature. Actually, as a boy, we used to read Vivekananda's literature wherever he deals with the human problems of India, the poverty, the suffering, the backwardness, the exploitation. With such feeling, Swamiji expressed these ideas. We used to get tears in our eyes, feeling along with Swamiji for the people of our country. That patriotic dedication, that spirit of oneness with the people, dealing with diverse problems of India. Swamiji gives us an education which no school or college or university can give. What is the relevance of Ramakrishna Vivekananda today? It is for the people to understand answer to this question. Every day we read in the papers so many problems affecting us, afflicting us, and millions of people are below poverty line. Millions are illiterate. Millions are being exploited even today. There is caste conflict. There is communal conflict. So many problems. And above all, the corruption in public life. One cannot trust the other. To such low level, we have brought our society. What has Ramakrishna Vivekananda to contribute to change this situation, to make for a brighter future for India? These questions must be asked by students in schools and colleges, and the general citizens as well. When you ask such questions seriously, and when you turn to the literature of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, you will get a fund of inspiration. And in this, it is not merely our country that is going to gain. The problems of humanity abroad also need a new approach, a new inspiration to tackle and to solve. This great manifestation of India's spiritual wisdom in the form of Sri Ramakrishna will be found to be absolutely relevant today for people in all parts of the world. I shall confine myself to our problems. I do deal with these world problems when I travel around the world every year, and I know with what great receptivity people abroad receive the message of India, message of Vedanta, message of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. They are hungry and thirsty to get a little of this message. Germany, Holland, West and East Berlin, Australia, USA, Malaysia, sometimes Japan, Philippines, Fiji, Mauritius. In all these countries, there is great interest in the philosophy and spirituality of India. First of all, this is presented in a rational manner. You can question, you can investigate. These are not a bundle of dogma. Therefore it appeals to the Western mind. And so they respond. They read these books. Their life is changed. I cannot convey in words the emotional response of the people. Take, for example, Germany, a strong race, very heroic, very hard-working, economically so high. When a number of Germans studied with me the Katha Upanishad, one by one came forward. They have never heard these things. Something extraordinary, so rational, so inspiring. That was the remark they made. And the farewell speeches were so touching in Dortmund, in West Germany. That is experience throughout the West. The best thoughts of India, coming from very ancient times, are on great demand in the Western world. In fact, our Vedanta societies are a few in the Western world, about 14 in America, one in France, one in England, one in Geneva, then one in Singapore, Mauritius, Fiji, one in Japan. Why only so few? We don't have enough monks to spare. If we had enough monks to send abroad, just now we can start 100 centers in all these countries, and they will look after it. We don't spend a single pie from India to run our centers abroad. They want it, they invite us, they take care of us. That is the status of Indian thought in the rest of the world. Even in communist countries, they have got tremendous respect for India's philosophy, for the message of Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda and Gandhi. That is the position of India with respect to the rest of the world. And this has been so throughout the ages. Even in Greco-Roman times, the Western people sought to come in touch with the thought of India. For this country has studied philosophy and religion, the human personality, thoroughly and in depth, and has produced what we call today in English a fund of wisdom, not mere knowledge. Knowledge matured into wisdom. It is a wonderful idea, which only in the post-war period the West has come to recognize the importance of. Before the Second World War, the West understood only the word knowledge, more and more knowledge, scientific knowledge, sociological knowledge, political knowledge. So explosion of knowledge was created in the West in the modern period. It is only in the post-war period the West has come to realize mere knowledge is not enough. Knowledge must mature into wisdom. And what is that wisdom? They turn to India and they find a fund of wisdom coming from both ancient and modern times. It was the late Bertrand Russell, who was not a man of religion, who was agnostic, but who had been chastened by the experience of the Second World War, who said in one of his speeches in the post-war period that unless men increase in wisdom as much as in knowledge, increase of knowledge shall be increase of sorrow. The more knowledge, the more tension, the more sorrow. Knowledge must rise to wisdom. It is this work that was done by the great sages of India from the most ancient times to modern times. India has a fund of wisdom. So also the great China, a fund of wisdom. It's not merely accumulation of knowledge. Before the Second World War, 2 books appeared in English which created great interest in both East and West. That was Lin Yutang's book, The Wisdom of China, The Wisdom of India. That is a wonderful idea. Knowledge maturing into wisdom. In the Upanishad, you will find the same approach. Men with plenty of knowledge, with plenty of problems, tension, suffering, and they seek wisdom from great spiritual teachers. The most outstanding example in ancient Indian history is the story of Narada, who had much knowledge, going to Sanat Kumara, a man of wisdom, and obtaining from him that saving wisdom as narrated in the Chandogya Upanishad, 7th chapter. Today Sri Ramakrishna comes. He doesn't give us just bits of knowledge. We have plenty of knowledge. But he transforms all knowledge into wisdom. That is something unique. And the greatest example is Narendra. Young, vital, plenty of knowledge of modern science, modern thought. He goes to Sri Ramakrishna to mature his knowledge into wisdom. Ramakrishna has not got any education, but the educated people went to him. Top people, men like Keshav Chandra Sen, M, headmaster of the school, Narendra, and a large number of similar people. They had all knowledge, but that knowledge was not enough. They felt its inadequacy. they go to Sri Ramakrishna. And what wonderful wisdom comes out of the mouth of Sri Ramakrishna. That great book, the Gospel of Ramakrishna, gives us this picture of a profound spiritual teacher communicating wisdom to so many people who had plenty of knowledge. The second chapter of the Gospel of Ramakrishna contains a very impressive dialogue between the most learned Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar and the simple Sri Ramakrishna. Where is Ramakrishna compared to Vidyasagar? He is a man of tremendous knowledge, Sanskrit, Bengali and English. Ramakrishna is a simple priest of a temple. And yet, the conversation goes on for full 4 hours. And sometimes, Ramakrishna makes a remark containing much wisdom. Vidyasagar immediately reacts to it. Wonderful, wonderful. Please say that once again, sir. It is a wonderful idea. What did Ramakrishna say? He merely said, all the Vedas, all the sacred books of the world, they have become Uchishta, being pronounced by the mouth of man. That is our understanding. The only thing that has not become Uchishta is Brahman himself, the ultimate reality. Nobody has expressed him through mouth, through words, through thought. That alone is free from all impurity. That is a matter to be realized. Vidyasagar, already a learned person, he was deeply impressed by this remark of Sri Ramakrishna. Those 4 hours conversation touched very profound subjects. And this great scholar, taking in whatever Ramakrishna had to say, the same in the story with regard to Keshav Chandra Sen, the great orator, leader of the Brahma Samaj of one particular section. They all sit just like children before Sri Ramakrishna, just to drink in whatever he had to say. Simple, straight, direct. It goes into the heart of the listener. There is something fascinating in the words coming from a man of spiritual realization. But Tagore expressed it in his Gitanjali, where words come out from the depth of truth, those words go into the heart of the listener. You need not be an orator. You need not be a scholar. But if you have realized the truth, when you express it, those words go to the heart of the listener. That is a wonderful idea we have in India. It is not the polish of your language. It is the personality behind the speech. That is the most important thing. We had a wonderful experience of it in our political movement. How many orators we had in politics. But when Gandhiji came upon the scene, all oratory vanished. Direct speech, coming from the heart, going to the people. That is how our politics became humanized, directly concerned with the problems of the people. In the world of philosophy and religion, that is what we saw in Sri Ramakrishna. The profoundest philosophy coming to us in simple language, with beautiful illustrations, beautiful parables. Ramakrishna's parables are famous. All the great teachers have conveyed great truths through parables. Buddha did it. Jesus did it. Even Shankaracharya has done it in his commentaries. And today, the parables of Shri Ramakrishna, how much it has influenced us. When I was a boy again in the high school, we were all, as usual, mischievous students. Then I read a parable of Sri Ramakrishna, the story of that great sage and the serpent. A serpent was living in a forest. Children used to play nearby. They were afraid of that serpent. One day a holy man came that side. The boys said, "Don't go there. There is a poisonous serpent." Holy man said, "I am not afraid of serpents." So he goes into the forest. Serpent comes with raised hood. He utters some mantra. Serpent becomes quiet. Then a conversation ensues. The holy man telling the serpent, "Why are you harming people? It's not proper to do so. You must be kind, you must be compassionate." And he gave him a mantra. "I'll see you again." Saying this, the holy man went away. From that day, the serpent changed his life, became quiet, became non-violent, living on leaves and dry things, became thinner. And the boys who were playing there, they found a change in the serpent. They began to come closer and closer. They found the serpent absolutely harmless. One day they were bold enough to take the serpent with the tail and roll it and dash it on the ground. Half dead, it became unconscious. When it became slightly conscious, it crawled into its own hole. A few days later, the holy man returned. The boys told this holy man, "Your serpent is dead." He said, "It cannot die until it realizes the truth. I have given it a good mantra." It called him by name. So the serpent crawled out and saluted the holy man. Then a conversation comes. "What has happened to you? You have become so thin, mere bone. Oh, since you asked me not to harm any creatures, I am not eating rats and frogs nowadays, only dry leaves. That must be the reason why I have become so thin." Holy man said, "No, that cannot be the only reason. Think a little deeper." Then immediately the serpent remembered. Because he had become so non-violent, he entirely forgot the harm done by those boys to him. That was his compassion in the heart. But when asked by the teacher, he recalled, "Yes, the boys did not know the change that had come upon me. So one day they violently dashed me on the ground. That's why I am in this condition. It is all your grace. You taught me not to harm people." To this, the teacher immediately replied, "What a fool you are. I asked you not to bite people, but you could have hissed at people, protected your own interest. Otherwise, people will take advantage of you. Learn to hiss." Telling the story, Ramakrishna turned to the people sitting in front. "So I tell you, don't bite, don't put your poison into others, but you hiss so that they may go away and not harm you. You must learn to hiss." I was a boy at that time. I said, "This is a beautiful idea. I should not harm anybody, but I should not allow others to harm me. I must learn to hiss." Now these are all extremely practical teachings. There are numbers of them in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. When we build up our life, when we live in a human society, we have to interact with each other. How shall we interact? With minimum friction, maximum advantage. That's the problem in all human society. It is for this we preach religion, philosophy, etc. In India today, we have the biggest problem of interhuman relationship, covering a sixth of humanity. Our population is 1/6 of humanity. If we can build up a happy society here with happy human relations, what a wonderful achievement it will be. In the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, you have the entire wisdom of India on this particular subject coming to us, strengthened by the wisdom of the rest of the world. That is how we can study Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature to great advantage. Human relations. We in India need this teaching much more than people in any other part of the world. Because all these few centuries, our relationship with other human beings has not been of a high order. A society which has practiced untouchability, which has caused exclusiveness, which has exploited human beings in every form. We need to understand this subject, how to establish happy human relations with each other. Ours is a highly hierarchical, feudal society. The modern age demands we make our society thoroughly democratic. That is the call of the day. We want wisdom to guide us in this matter. Some little wisdom we can get from the West. We have adopted something of it by establishing a democracy. But that is only a political structure. How to put soul into it? How to make it economic and social democracy? What changes should come in all of us? When we ask such questions and turn for guidance, you will get a tremendous education in the Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature and thought. One aspect of it I would like to convey to you this evening. We have in our ancient literature the concept of man as a spark of the divine. The Atman is the self of all. Physically, we are all separate, but the same Atman is in all of us. That teaching is given in the Upanishads, in the Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shri Krishna says in the Gita, Mai sarvamidam provatam sutre manigana iva. All these beings in the world are so many gems. I am the thread that runs through all of them, uniting all of them. That is how God is presented in Vedanta. He is the Antaryaman. He is the Antaratman. He is the self of all. Such profound teachings are there in our literature. But in our actual dealings with man, we never saw anything great in him. We did everything to stifle him, destroy his dignity, destroy his humanness. Today, Ramakrishna Vivekananda come, tell us, live the great truths of your Vedanta, your Sanatana Dharma. Don't consider a few rituals and ceremonies as the end of religion. Try to understand these profound truths of your own Sanatana Dharma. Live it. Establish happy human relations. How? By respecting every human being, whatever may be his or her status in society. Respect the dignity of man. That is the teaching in Sanatana Dharma. A teaching which we recited, never practiced. Not once. A few saints and sages have done it, but not people in society. This teaching is given to us in many beautiful verses of our own great sacred books. We have read these sacred books. Take for example Srimad Bhagavatam. Thousands of people will come and listen to Bhagavatam when a Pandit will expound it. They will shake the head nicely, go back, not leave one item of that book, except a little weeping and wailing in the name of God. Nothing more than that. Our God. You will find the key to understand the spirit of our great philosophy and religion. All these centuries we have been reading and reading. Even the Gita we have been reading. Without understanding the spirit of that great book, we couldn't appreciate, assimilate its message. Ramakrishna said, some have heard of milk, some have seen milk, some have touched milk, some few have drunk the milk. The last alone has profited from the milk. By shouting milk, you are not going to get any good out of it. And the Gita is compared to milk in that great verse. Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha Patho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gita Amritam Mahat. What a beautiful verse. Consider all the Vedas as the cow, Krishna as the cowherd, Arjuna as the calf, and the milk drawn by the cowherd from that cow is the nectar of the Gita. That milk is meant for the millions and millions of people of the world. That is a shloka. So Krishna has given that milk to us. We put it on our head, we worshipped it, we did everything except drink it. That's what has happened to our society all these hundreds of years. Today Sri Ramakrishna comes, corrects this mistake we have done, pointing out how we shall utilize this Gita, what high character, what high public spirit, what high work efficiency, what high humanistic impulse will come out of that assimilation of the teachings of the Gita. We read the Srimad Bhagavatam. I have gone around all over India. With what reverence we listen to the reading of the Bhagavatam. It's beautiful. But its profound message we couldn't understand or assimilate. Only an emotional aspect of that religion appealed to us. Tears will come from the eyes when we hear it. But it never became our character, our means of interhuman relationship. Today Ramakrishna and Vivekananda come and tell us how to understand Bhagavata correctly.